All right. Hello there, GM. So it's another weekly batch analysis, and this week, not much action this week, but I had like three trades, so I'm gonna have something to talk about, I guess. So as always, I'm gonna start with going over last week. So last week, not much, right? There was just one trade. Did I actually take it? Yeah, I did. Okay. And I followed my rules well. I was patient, didn't force anything. I forgot to reduce risk. Oh, was this the crypto trade? Yeah. It was the crypto trade. Pyth. I see. Yeah. I forgot to reduce risk, but overall nothing much. And why is this here? Why is it plus 4.8? What? I thought I only took one trade. Let me just check something here. If I go into week, uh, 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 what do? I go into week 35 here. Okay. Let me see. So, huh. I don't understand why this is here. This should be 0. Yeah, this should be 0. I don't think I missed anything in that week, did I? Like, just to make sure, I will go to week 35 over here and see if there was anything. So there was a lesson here. There was one trade here on crypto, which was a break even. Anything on the weekend? No. Okay, well, in that case, yeah, that was a mistake. Results that I traded perfectly are 0. Okay, cool. So there was literally nothing last week. And this week, yep, it's all the same thing in terms of focus. One thing that I really wanted to focus on was filling out my worksheets. Those have been extremely helpful, I have to say, because I kind of created a routine for myself in the morning, and I basically need to do certain things, and well, that makes sure that I don't make mistakes such as not checking news, forgetting about news, not curating my watch list properly, and all of that stuff. So that's been going great. Anyway, let's go into the trades, I guess. So go to week 36 over here. And yeah, as always, every single morning I check these instructions for the week, right? So every single morning I focus on not the rules, but the R. I always think about that capital preservation is my number one goal, and rules are actually what force me into taking risk. By default, I'm trying to rewire myself to uh, not wanting to take risk, actually. So combating that inner need of being in a trade, that need for the dopamine rush and all of that bullshit, right? I'm trying to really weed that out, and yeah, this has been going great. Check news and create alerts 30 minutes prior to the event. Yep, been doing that very diligently. Create a watch list and price alerts. Yep, was doing that very diligently as well. Do not trade stage 1. I think maybe I traded one high time frame stage 1. I'm not quite sure, but we'll get to that. Trade strong stage 2 reaccumulations. Yep, that's basically the system. Don't trade inconsistent moves that came in this week, definitely. I'm going to talk about that. And lastly, evaluate liquidity based on the intended E time frame. Yep. So that's very good. And let's move into the trades. So on Monday, there were no red news. It was bank holiday, but still, gold and silver were quite interesting, but nothing actually set up properly. I even included this session, like this was my session, pretty much started at 9 a.m. And yeah, there was absolutely nothing. So even though it was on my watch list and it looked good on the higher time frames, the lower time frames simply did not set up. So nothing to do. Same with silver. So yeah, coming in Tuesday, I had a trade on JER30. Okay, so let's take a look at that. That should be here, and that's a -1. All right. So yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's that potential stage 1, right? Uh, Here I'm at the 4 hour. Like honestly, let me go to TradingView real quick. So when I go to JER30, there we go, and I go to something like the daily. Like the daily has been going sideways for a while. I should probably just like mark this whole thing up as a sideways, and I probably should not trade it. Just like I have not been trading gold. Gold has been in a sideways in a very similar way, right? I can remove this and actually like put this in. And I have not been trading gold. Like, I have been trading gold a little bit back, like over here, when I still considered this all could potentially be a reaccumulation. But the moment this failed, I pretty much stopped watching overall. I started watching a little bit over here with the hope that it would go higher and then maybe I could follow it, but nothing actually happened. So ever since it lost this level, I didn't watch. And I guess I should have done the same for JER30 and been a little more patient, because this is most definitely not a trending market, right? So yeah, I think that was avoidable. But either way, let's just check what happened on the lower time frames, I guess. So here, I mean, there is an argument to be made that you have like this whole level, and maybe that's the stage one, and now it's reaching out of it, and that's probably what I did. But looking back at it, I really think there was no need whatsoever to take a trade here. I could have definitely avoided it. So, no matter what, I am going to call this a stage one, and therefore probably a mistake. But let's see what happened on the lower time frames. So here's the 6 minute, right? Clearly a trending market, good momentum cycle, and then it breaks down. The moment it breaks down, I immediately assume reaccumulation, and I'm waiting for some kind of stage one and a breakout out of it and following the new momentum cycle over here. That's exactly what happens. We can see that on the 1 minute right here. Nice little flush. Here, beautiful stage one. I even started looking for a trade over here. And here we have MMB1 and MMB2. MMB1 and MMB2 are my favorite places to trade by far, so I'm very, very happy to take trades there. I was looking for an entry here, nothing did set up, that's okay. And now we're over here, by no means overextended, we just reached above here, so there's definitely space to continue higher. And on the 10-second, we have some kind of stage one over here, pretty clear. And here it breaks out into the MMB1, right? And here I take this trade because, well, what I have noticed is if I went to, let's say, like a 2 second or something like that, what this would look like would be like a nice little stage two, right? It would lose its momentum cycle just like we're used to. MB1 validation, little pullback, and MB2. That's how it would look like on the even lower time frame. So it would be a very much valid DMB entry in a momentum cycle, and this is how it looks on the V. So normally, what I just drew a second ago, that would be the E, but it looks exactly the same on the V. So I figured, hey, this meets all the rules to follow momentum. I can most definitely trade these kind of setups. You know, where I have a strong stage two, pulls back into the rising 1020 EMA. There's a momentum cycle and everything, and there is a ICI pretty much, right? So these are definitely valid setups, so that's why I took it. And what happens here is, well, here it goes a little bit higher, and I just thought, nah, that's not enough power just yet, not enough strength. So I waited a little longer, and around here I started to think, okay, maybe I should like reduce my risk, TP to 0, and then it went higher. I just wanted to see it do this for some reason. I don't know. I think I was a little bit greedy here, and I probably could have reduced risk on this candle already. It should not have returned, especially since it took this liquidity. I think I should have reduced risk already. Most definitely. This is short, so yeah, I should have reduced risk. This should have at least been a spread loss and not a full -1. So actually, I have to say, like, there were quite a few mistakes on this trade. The first mistake is that I traded in a stage one on the high time frame. I should have been more patient. The second mistake is that I reduced risk too late. So, yep, not the best. Anyway, here, let's just label all of this up as I always do. This is, well, good momentum, most definitely. This is good momentum as well. Okay, and here, I mean, yeah, we have good momentum, definitely, and well, I don't usually say good momentum on the E, but this is really a perfect DMB, I would say, perfect entry. But unfortunately, when I look into this, I have to say that I reduced risk too late. No, I didn't reduce risk. So what do I say? Didn't reduce risk. Should have reduced risk. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. Hmm. Wondering if there's anything. Yeah, I can write it like this. Holy crap, that's huge. What the hell? Maybe like this. make it white. Okay, okay. Should have reduced risk here. Boom. And yeah, that looks nice. Yeah, should have most definitely reduced risk over here, 100%. So yeah, that's a little bit of a mistake, unfortunate, but what can you do? So that's a -1. Mistake, and mistake why? Well, state one, and risk. Okay, so let me go into my Notion and mark all of this up. So this is a mistake. It's a mistake because it's a state one and didn't reduce risk. So forgot, I mean, ultimately it just didn't. So I'm gonna do it like this. Didn't reduce risk. Cool. So the context itself was state one. 6 minute was awesome. 1 minute was awesome, and 10 seconds was awesome as well. Management wise, didn't reduce risk. So fortunately, quite a few mistakes. So I even wrote something here. Not entirely sure about the high time frame here, but the EVC from the 6 minute looked amazing. Yeah, I even set TP to 0 after this. Okay, makes sense, and I got a -1. All right, so I'm gonna write here. Should not have traded this in the first place because it was high time frame stage one, and also should have reduced risk earlier. So that's that. Unfortunate mistake. What can you do? And on the watch list, I was actually looking at Euro GBP longs as well, apparently. Let me just open this up. Yeah, because there's an overall like high time frame bullish story, bullish context, and here we have a stage one, and it was reaching out of it, so makes sense, but nothing actually set up. And yeah, these are the dirt dirty shorts that I was looking at. Honestly, yeah, I should have just not traded this. This is chop bonanza, makes no sense. I'm a bit disappointed with that. Oh well, what can you do? Anyway, moving on, we got Wednesday, right? I got one trade here. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the worksheet, right? So when it comes to news, what I do is I just put a screenshot over here and then I create alerts and I put the screenshot of the alerts as proof that I actually created them. So that's good. And then I have my watch list here. So silver, gold longs. Gold longs are bold because that was the most interesting one. Also EJ longs, UJ longs, GU longs, just dirty shorts. Those should not have been there, honestly. And nothing really did set up, and except for gold. So I have one trade on gold here, and that ended up being a beautiful winner. So let's take a look. So here we are on gold. I'm on the 30-minute here, but it really doesn't matter. It could be the 60-minute as well. What matters is that we are in an overall bullish context, and here we reached out from a long-lasting stage one, right? I don't have it here, but if I go into trading view and I go into gold, like it's this, right? Like it reached out. Even if I go as far, oh shit, even if I go as far and mark it up over here, like, all right, right. So if I go as far and do that, maybe make it visible on all intervals. Okay, okay. So it's here, cool. So yeah, it reached out and I started watching for trades somewhere over here, right? Which makes complete sense because it reached out from like a multi-month sideways market. What is this? 140 days. What's that? That's like more than 4 months if I calculate properly. And it just reached out, and I thought, okay, this is where it reached out and started going sideways. If it shows momentum that it wants to go higher here, I'm most definitely going to follow with this kind of expectations, right? And that's kind of what happened. So I have the stage one over here. I can probably see that right here. Yeah, okay, this is the stage one. This is like the choppy stuff, and all of a sudden it reaches out. It's very choppy over here. I did not like it at all, and I think there was probably some news as well. I'm not entirely sure. Let me see. So there were some news, okay, and I took this after those news, didn't I? No, it was before the news. Okay, doesn't quite matter, but yeah, it's really choppy here, and I don't like it too much. but then eventually it flushes out and it reaches into a new range. So that by itself is already enough for me to start trading. And here, so we have this chop, 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 and then all of a sudden, big momentum comes in, inefficiency, valid demand zone, all of that stuff. EMA start rising, looking good. Let's go to the 10 seconds, see what's up. So here, clearly somebody pressed the buy button, and this is pretty much the same type of entry as I had on the J30 trade, where we simply have a new momentum cycle. This is MMB1, and within that MMB1, there is an ICI, right? So beautiful entry, most definitely. Everything, all the rules are met. So I took that. Let's see what happened. I actually, if I remember correctly, I expected this to be a loss because it immediately turned against me. But yeah, I waited for this very patiently. This looked good indeed. And the moment it went over here, I was like, already, okay, I'm done. This is a -1, whatever, too bad. But it actually didn't tap me out, and it started going my way. And after this big candle, I reduced risk. And after it created this fractal structure, I moved myself to complete risk-free. I reduced risk twice here because gold has a little bit of a wider risk, a little bit of a wider spread, sorry, than let's say EU or something like that. So I reduced risk twice. And this pretty quickly runs to +5. But actually, I was quite lucky to get the +5 because the max RR was 5.77 only. So it just reached a little bit above my TP and then reversed. But overall, this was, I think, beautiful. Let's just let's label it up. So here we have good momentum. Yeah, good momentum. Same here, good momentum. I mean, we reached out of a stage one, reaccumulated, and continued higher. So this is already a trending market. Here we have a stage one breakout, which is one of the setups that I enjoy trading. And it's also on good momentum. And here we have a beautiful entry. I would call this a perfect entry for sure. Perfect entry. So overall, this trade deserves a perfect. Beautiful. So let me label it over here as well. So good context, good momentum, whoa. Good momentum, good entry, perfect management. So overall, this deserves a perfect. Nice. Any reflection to quant trade on gold, which I waited for very patiently. Yes, I did for over several months that I didn't trade gold, and that was good. Coming in Thursday, there were some news, and nothing was on the watch list. Nothing was interesting, so I skipped everything. Cool. And now we have Friday, and I had a trade on gold. There were some news at 2:30. Um, on my watch list, there was gold, US 100 or NAS 100, and UK 100. One thing that I remember, well, it was yesterday, is here in the reflection. In the past, I would have followed some of the moves that were ignited by the news. It was big news, it was NFP or whatever. And many assets or many markets moved violently into what, like within a good context. So in the past, I would have most definitely followed that. But now I have this new rule regarding inconsistency, and many of the moves that happened were simply very, very inconsistent, where they just pumped insanely hard within a very short amount of time. And I made a rule around that. I don't really want to follow such markets, and I actually avoided some losses this way. I did follow gold and US 100, I think, because US 100 looked quite consistent, but nothing quite set up. And I remember I avoided one loss on gold, I believe. But anyway, let's go take a look at this gold trade, which is the last trade here. So on the high time frame, what do we have? We have an ongoing trend, right, that does a reset, flushes out. The moment that happens, I expect some kind of stage one. And also, like whenever it happens in this violent fashion, like here, I pretty much just mark up the high. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested in anything that happens over here because it's happening underneath that. And I just want to see price reach above that level before I start following. And that's pretty much what happens. And this is the inconsistent part, right? And I think this is the trade that I avoided because yeah, it definitely is because it was just ignited inconsistently, and although it reached into a new high, I just didn't feel comfortable taking risk here. So I was like, okay, you know what? If I am to trade this, I'm gonna wait for this to reaccumulate for a while. I'm gonna wait for like this market to calm down after such a big move. And if it decides to reach higher, I'm going to trade it with the expectation of course, continuation. So that's pretty much what happens. And here, what do we have? We have some kind of stage one, right? It reaches out pretty strongly. Uh, MMB1, MMB2, right? My favorite places to trade. So most definitely, I'm fine trading this. And this is another one of those where I simply trade the ICI above the moving averages. So this would be a DMB setup on, let's say, a 2 second, 3 second, something like that. But I simply know what my best setups look like, both on the E and the V. So this is like a V setup, but I don't actually go to the E, to the lower, but I can still take it because it meets all of my rules of following momentum. So I was happy to take this. And what happens over here, it starts going my way. Maybe there is an argument to be made that I could have already reduced risk over here, but I thought, there's not enough strength away from my entry, so I let it do its thing. And here it pops down. Actually, let me see how I managed. So pretty much at this place, yeah. So I didn't reduce like risk over here because I thought, okay, maybe this is just a deeper flush and this wants to continue. But the moment it failed here, at this point, there's way too much supply in the setup. There's just way too much weakness and loss of momentum. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm going to reduce my risk or set my TP to 0. And hopefully, I will be able to get out. And I did actually manage to get out. That was quite lucky. So I'm happy about that. And if I remember correctly, this continued going higher for a little while, but my screen just started doing some random shit. I don't know what's going on. Okay. They started going higher for a little bit, but then came back to B anyway, so didn't miss out on anything. So overall, I'm happy with this trade. So what do we have? We have good momentum over here, most definitely. I can probably even like call this a stage one breakout. Yeah, I will. I will. No. What am I doing? Okay. Um, Something happened here. Okay, cool. So stage one breakout on good momentum. Here we have good momentum. This is MMB1 breakout higher, so moving into MMB2. Here we have a stage one breakout as well. On good momentum. And here I would say we have a perfect entry, most importantly because, well, it's very strong stage two and it's simply the follow up of the reaccumulation. So perfect entry. I'm happy with this entry. And if I could go over here, let's mark it all up. Good context, good momentum, good entry. This was a BE from below, and that was perfect management. There is an argument to be made that maybe I could have reduced risk earlier. Maybe I could have reduced risk earlier. One thing that I recently saw in a webinar, I believe, or maybe it was a public video of Anton, it's that he pretty much gets out of the trade after 2 candles after his entry. That's an interesting way to manage. Basically, what that does is it filters out only the violent moves that are pretty much as ready can be, right? And you don't give price a chance at all to actually go sideways. I don't know. I will look into it a little bit. It's definitely interesting. It piqued my interest. Maybe I'll test it a bit. But for now, I'm very happy with how I manage my trades. So it's all right. So overall, this deserves, I think it deserves a perfect. Yeah. Okay. And that concludes it. Yep. That concludes it. So let's go over here. Let's do this part. Yeah. That means this trade was perfect. So, what went well? I did follow my rules really well. I was very patient, and well, I can't say I didn't force anything because I think I forced the Jer30 trade. So, forced. Whoa. Hello? All right. No. All right. Forced the JER30 trade was stage 1 and also uh, didn't reduce risk on time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot here of this part. Boom. I'm going to add it here to what went bad. Boop. Nice. And I'm also going to add a screenshot of this. Nice. Let's do that. All right. That should be enough just to kind of have it here like that. I'm going to make them same size. Okay, nice. Put them above so it looks a bit nicer. Okay, so let's get into the results, I guess. Actually, before I do that, I'll copy paste these things into my worksheet as well. So this went well. This went bad. Okay, and the lessons, are there any lessons? Really don't trade high time frame stage ones. It's not worth it. Yep. So if I go up here, I will tag the mistakes that I did. So I traded in stage 1 and I forgot to reduce risk. Cool. And yeah, I wanted to go into my weekly analysis over here. This was week, what was it? Was it week 36? Yep, it was. Let's go here. So my results overall are plus 3.4, so positive this week. Happy about that. And had I traded perfectly, my results would be plus 4.4. Actually, they would be even higher, wouldn't they? Because if I go into my perfect week here, they would be 4.6. Yeah, 4.6, because I would avoid one loss, which is 1.2 with commissions. So that is that. Is there anything else that I need to fill out? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right. So just looking back at my week, I'm quite happy with how things went. Could have been even better if I actually didn't force the stage 1 trades. Like, I'm not mad at myself. It's okay. But time after time, I can just see that like the high time frame stage ones, they're not worth it. Like, I'm probably just gonna completely skip them. I don't see a reason why I would trade them. So yeah, a bit sad that I forced that JER30 trade. I guess it's been a very long time since I had any trades. Like, if we take a look at my trades in the last couple of weeks, like last 3 weeks, I only had a few trades, and not I didn't even take all of these. Yeah, week 34 I didn't take any. Week 35 I took one. Week 36 I took three. So not many trades, but this I actually need to normalize it. This is very, very usual stuff for me, and yeah, I've been coaching myself a little bit too throughout my walks. Like, it's a bit of a bamboozle, thinking back a couple of weeks where you're just like, okay, I really, really want to succeed as a trader, right? And what did I do to succeed? If I look at the past 2 weeks, and I did nothing pretty much, and that's good. That's good. That's a very unique challenge that trading presents. Like with anything else in life that I did or used to do, I could pretty much just dedicate some time to get closer to my goal anytime, right? At any time in the day, I could be like, okay, I'm gonna work on this, and I know that it's gonna move me a little bit closer to where I want to be. But that's not how trading works. I can't just go in here and start taking trades. That's gonna ruin me. So I'm actually doing the right thing. I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. And it just feels a little bit weird, you know. I'm not too experienced with it just yet, but I do need to normalize it. I need to realize that this is correct. I should positively reinforce it, and yeah, that's what I'm doing here. So I'm pretty proud of myself for being able to stay out of so many things. Yeah, I did take a trade that I wasn't supposed to this week, but it's okay. Like compared to how I used to perform in the past and how many trades I took that I wasn't supposed to, I'm doing so damn well these days. And really the understanding that Anton shared that trading is seasonal is helping me so much. So right now it's not the season, but once the season will be here, I know that I have a great system that will allow me to participate in these moves. Yeah, I might take minus ones, and like maybe there's going to be a season coming up next week or next month, and I'm going to take some losses, but that's okay. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to. And then next season, that's when maybe then I'm going to capture a lot of wins. What matters is that once the season is here, that's where I have chance to actually let my edge play out. Anything outside of season is not edge, and that's important. So I'm doing the right thing here. I'm happy about it, and that's all that matters. So yeah, if any of that, as always, sparks some thoughts in your mind, do let me know. Shoot me a DM, tag me in Trade Talk, whatever it is, and I will see you guys next week in the markets. Enjoy your weekends. Okay, peace.